Good morning, good afternoon, and good day, folks. We've got people here all over the world, and just show me your thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, I saw one thumb there. That's fantastic. Okay, guys, so feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. We are here to learn, ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. You know, we're in this market with Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. It's a market that many people came into, and some people have just came into this market in maybe the last week, have never heard of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And it may sound impossible for some of us, but I tell you what, there are still people that have not heard about Bitcoin. It's exactly the same as what happened in the dot-com bubble. If you look at what happened with Apple, Microsoft, if we go back to 1999, we had Apple that brought out a whole bunch of products, but they only had 3% of the market. Now think about that. Apple brings out a product, only 3% of the world population knows it. And I'm specifically talking about the iPod. Apple then went and opened it for the world. Their business boomed. They're now a $1 trillion company. Now just think back for a second. If we look at Bitcoin, before I get into this report here quickly, and I'm going to go through this report, the one that we released yesterday, just really quickly, but I'll do that shortly. But let's just quickly go and have a look at the Apple chart. So on the screen now, what you should see is the price chart for Apple. Very, very small. If you look at the left bottom side, can you see there where it says that was the dot-com bubble between 1999 and 2001? And look how insignificant and small that little bubble is there. But if I were to zoom in and have a look at that little bump there, as per se, in the road. And the reason I'm going to show you this is to give you a bit of confidence that what is happening in Bitcoin is one amazing event that is about to happen. And you are now at the right place at the right time. It's no coincidence that you are here. Now look at that little boom and bust. We can basically say that the market went up here, right up to that little top there, and came dropping down. Now forget about all this big rise on the right hand side. Let's have a look and see what was that retracement. So if I were to put it there and I pull that down and I come right down to this little bottom here. There we go, guys. 82% retracement. If you had $100,000 invested right there at the top, you would only now have, or you would have lost 82% of that money. Now, can you see, have a look at this little chart here for a second here. Now, let's imagine this is Bitcoin. Here, Bitcoin comes in 2017. And there, Bitcoin goes here in December and spikes upwards. And here, right at the top, Bitcoin is there, $20,000. Let's just put in there $20,000. There we go, right at the top. January, what does the market does? It goes down, comes back up, goes down, comes back up, down, and it follows that pattern. Can you see why I say that you shouldn't be too concerned? What if Bitcoin is just there and we're just ready to make that move upwards again? Now keep in mind, and what I will do with this, let's just this color that you can see there on the screen, just a light orange. And now I'm going to zoom out. And I want to give you this picture of what potentially can happen with Bitcoin. Now, many of you know that we use the Apple algorithm data in our report and in our analysis for identifying Bitcoin. Not necessarily the pathway of Apple, but the algorithm data. That means the patterns, the sequences, the date and time, all those events is what we identify from Apple and then use that in our Bitcoin price analysis. Now look at what Apple did. Apple went up there, Now let's see how much it went up for the first spike up. 3,213% just to that top. But we're not done yet. Let's just quickly have a look again. Zoom out. Can you see that 3,213% how insignificant that now becomes? And look at this block here. We can't even see anything in that little block there. It's become so small. And look at that, folks. Can you see what market cycles do? Markets here, they go up, they drop. 82% drop. Exactly the same as what Bitcoin basically did. Market went sideways upwards, came back, dropped again, upwards, dropped again, upwards, dropped again. We are now simply in one of these little drops. And if you can fathom these little drops there, like a drop there, a drop there, a drop there, and now it's doing another drop. Now what's going to happen with Apple, for example? Apple is going to go back up again there and have another drop. Can you see what I mean with patterns? That these patterns keep repeating itself over and over and over again. And that is where you make money. When we go into that up cycle there, every single up cycle is where we're going to make money. Now let's have a look at Bitcoin for a second here. I'm on the 4-hour chart, and what I'm going to do is, let me open another Bitcoin chart here. Okay, it's just loading very, very slow. Oh, Randy, I see that you are there, mate. How are you doing?
Doing very well, sir.
Awesome, man.
Glad to be here and hearing this information, because you know it's funny because every day you hear people that are disillusioned or discouraged, I should say, about the Bitcoin market, but they don't know what we know. And so when we see these kind of reports and see this kind of information like this graph right here, this is incredible, man. This is what makes all the difference in the world right here, looking at the future play out like this. So anyways, thanks a lot, Marius.
Yeah, Randy, it's amazing when you look at Apple, for example. And remember, I've always said from the beginning of the year when we identified the Apple algorithm chart, is that Bitcoin in some modular form is following that pattern, the algorithm pattern. And what I just want our viewers here to know and understand this, guys. You may feel that you're right at the bottom and that you've lost a lot of money. But I want you to think about this. You know, I was one of those guys in 1999, around about 2000, who had Apple shares here, Apple stocks. Now think about this, guys. If you have Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, all those kind of different cryptos, and you haven't sold it, just keep them, because it's not time to sell it now. You should have sold it a long time ago when we put in our report and say sell at 5.4. I think it's somewhere in our reports there, Randy. But don't feel guilty and don't kick yourself. Just keep what you have and simply ride out these waves, because what is coming here is something incredible. And I do apologize that I started with Apple first, but I just wanted to give you a big view picture, Randy. And I think people get it, you know, where these markets are simply just
Well, I think, Marius, I think.
Go ahead.
I think when you're showing them the Apple pattern here and how closely related it looks to the crypto market or Bitcoin market, for example, it just lets us all know that, you know, because of this pattern behavior, that Bitcoin, there is some predictability to how it's going to play out. Now, most people enter into crypto market or stock market even, and unfortunately, it's just a gamble. You know, even if you think you're going to do well on a stock, it's still just a gamble because you're still not aware of the pattern. What you've helped us see is this sort of, you know, big view. You know, we've kind of come back a little bit, and like you said, that the first run. I mean, this is Apple here. This is your Apple chart, but you know, when we did that run in Bitcoin that looked just like this, you know, we thought that Bitcoin, it went to the moon and came back down. But when you look at the big picture, even in Bitcoin, that was just a blip. So we can see in the Apple chart that, you know, that was just a blip too. They had a blip that they probably thought was going well, and they probably went down and everyone got discouraged. Like you said, you sold your Apple, but then it comes back around. And once you can see that it's going to come back around, gosh, it's a whole different experience with this stuff, man.
Now, let's have a look at this is Bitcoin back here 2013. I can go back a little bit further, but let's say 2011. Now look at that. It looks like we are running a straight path, and then we get like a blip there and another blip there. Now let's zoom in, for example, and I'll go a little bit slow so that people can just all over the world just see the images. So we're going to zoom into that little area there now. And just tell me, Randy, when you catch up with my screen. I just want people to understand this and not go too fast.
We can see the arrow, and it's pointing at that little blip that happened on the line there.
Now this is the Bitcoin chart. You can see here, that is where Bitcoin went and reached $20,000. There we go. And then it came all the way down. Now what I want you, the reason for this image is to show you that that little thing here where it says 20,000 is going to be such a small speck on the chart that we will come back in 5 years and look at that, and it's going to look like something like here on the chart there or there. Not even as big as that. Okay, now let's zoom into that arrow, and I'm going to show you what happened there. See these patterns, they keep repeating themselves over and over again. Can you see this looks very similar to Apple? Let's zoom in here where the .com is. And remember, this kind of information, guys, is not something that we're going to present to anybody. You know, this is only for our members. It's not something that we make public. And, you know, this kind of information is stuff that we want to keep for ourselves, and don't post it also out on social media. We've literally stopped making these videos public anymore. Now remember, this is, there we go, 1999, the .com bubble. Now have a look at that little picture there, and let's go back, Randy, to, okay. Now let me go back to Apple again. Look at that. And then we go back here. Can you see there, Randy, that they almost resemble the same pattern? Now if we take a percentage.
Over and over again.
Now look at that, you know, it's almost there, 93% retracement. If you go there, there we go, 85.92% retracement. Let's go back to Apple. 82.7% retracement. This should be an eye-opener for people looking at Bitcoin. If you look at Bitcoin, you think that the markets in Bitcoin is going to fall out. Guys, it's not. That was 82% retracement. Let's have a look at Bitcoin now. Look, 85% retracement. Now let's go back and bring these charts in line again. And remember, if you go back to that one there, you'll see it's the same, and that little one there. And then if you go back in the charts here in 2011, there's another one there, also 82% retracement, but you can't even see it, Randy. You can't see it on the graph.
It's Lynn. I know you just started, but I just have a question. You said it was okay to pop in. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All of us bought Bitcoin at different prices. I mean, I bought, you know, Bitcoin at 8,000, you know, 3,000, you know, 4,000, whatever. So, you know, I'm not sure which Bitcoin I'm selling when I sell it, because it's all in one thing. But the thing that I get confused about, in all honesty, is that, you know, I've held on to my crypto. I haven't sold anything, but I feel afraid sort of to sell anything, because I don't feel like I will have gained that much by the time I sell it, and then I may be buying it back at a higher rate. And I understand, you know, that may happen, but we didn't all buy Bitcoin when it was, you know, $1 or $1,000. So I'm just trying to reconcile that.
Yeah, I think you've asked that question before as well, and what we said at that point is don't sell. You know, it's no use to sell at the moment now. You simply just need to ride out the wave. Just for the folks here at home or listening all over the world, we're now on 13 December. That's the report that we gave out yesterday. And the heading is that algorithm patterns indicate a 47% Bitcoin price rise. Now, let's just go right down, Lynn, and we may be able to answer your question here under the exit plan and entry plan. If you have taken advantage of the exit plan of 17 November, 17 November, we basically said that we recommend that when the market hits 5596 or 5443, this is how you get out. And we gave the stages of where you sell there, you sell there, because the market was heading downwards. Now, what we say here on top is if you have taken advantage of the exit plan on 17 November, then it's good. If you did not sell and you are holding your portfolio, then there's nothing wrong with that strategy as well. Price direction, despite this low, will come back up. Now, let's say if you didn't sell, the market came all the way down here to the bottom here. This is the chart that we put out yesterday. We believe that the market is going to go, it will have higher lows, and come here by somewhere in the week is that we are going to spike upwards with about an 800 point Bitcoin price. So if we say 800 points, we just mean $800 more or less, but it should hit that level there of about 3899, just that level there. It then should go sideways upwards to the next green line there, the 4214, and then we're going to hit that little level there, which will basically be just breaking the $5,000 mark. Then we should be going sideways and have a next high point there. You may have bought at $8,000, but at that point, you know, it's not a good time to sell at the moment now, because the problem is if you sell now and the price of Bitcoin rise, then you're going to lose all that gains. So yeah, Randy, I don't know, you know, it's a difficult situation for people that haven't sold on the high. But, you know, at the moment, we suggest just ride out the wave. What you guys also need to understand, Lynn, is that we've got Bitcoin in certain wallets that we manage for other clients. We haven't sold any of those. Some of those clients bought at 11,000, 10,000, 9,000, 8,000. They just keep on buying. Many of our customers has got this long-term approach. And this is one of the things that I just want to get across at this point in the market with all our members. If you haven't sold there, you've lost the window to sell. All it actually means is that you haven't lost money. You've just lost a little bit of time. Because remember this, for the markets to go back up, let's say, for example, I've got customers here that has bought right at the high at 19.5. They never subscribed to us at that time. Now, all those people are going to do is they literally going to hold on about 420 days. What does it matter if you hold on? Let me just bring that screen up a little bit bigger. And see, this is the problem that I, for example, had when I sold my Apple shares. If I held my Apple shares for a year or year and a half or 600 days, I would have had that upswing and made a humongous amount of money. The only problem that you have at the moment, if you didn't sell, let's say, for example, at 19.5 there, when we first recommended that people get out of the market at 19.5. Now, remember, we gave that recommendation here around at about 8,000 to 9,000, and we said that the market is going to go to 20,000, and our people got out at 19.5. Although the market went a little bit higher, some altcoins went another 100% up. We got out of the market. We didn't take the risk, and we came and bought back at 11,000, I think, and rode the market up and down. Now, if you did not sell there, don't worry about it, because you may have to hold since the beginning of the year now, since January, you may have to hold a year and a half. But the market, Lynn, is definitely going to go up again, and is going to follow that pattern. It may go like that, may drop again, and people would sell again. But at the end of the day, it's going to break that all-time high, and you're going to make your money back again. Now, if you've got new capital that you can introduce, very, very smart way of buying right here at the bottom. Okay, so let's quickly go through this report here. Now, what I wanted to do is to show you guys the big view picture of what happened with Apple, and then also show you where Bitcoin is now. Bitcoin, believe it or not, but is in an infant stage. This is why we constantly say that Bitcoin is being reborn like a little baby. And I think many people are getting it, that we're right at the bottom, and this is the time where we should buy, not where we should exit markets. But I'm going to still tell you guys that we need to be cautious. You don't just simply now at the bottom go and quickly buy. The market can still drop a little bit further, and you could lose another 10 or 20%. And I'll go into that quickly now. So Bitcoin, although we expect a 47% rise, we saw Bitcoin bottom at 3208 on 7 December, and we've now moved up to 3369, which is a very modest gain, not much. So we expect Bitcoin to break further upwards with a moderate break before this week is over, on or about Thursday to Friday, which is basically now between the next 24, 48 hours or before the weekend. The break upwards could be approximately $800 or a 24% upwards break towards 3899. Now, very important, what we see on or about 24 to 25 December, Bitcoin is expected to make a primary top of $5,000, more or less. At that point there, guys, that's where I am going to get out of the market with my own personal money. I'm going to give you some extra information that is not in the reports. Now, the world stock markets is expected to go back upwards, and we do not see a big crash. Everybody's calling for the big crash. There's going to be a nuclear war. There's going to be tornadoes. Guys, we just don't see that anymore. I can tell you now what we see in our algorithm data. You don't have to back up your house with water, you know. It's always good to have some extra food and water there for an event that could happen, like tornadoes. But guys, we don't see the world stock markets collapse, and we don't see anybody going to jail. And I don't want to bring political stuff in here, but it's just not going to happen. You know, they scream they're going to jail this person, that person, and it takes focus off what really is happening in the world markets. So none of those disastrous events is going to happen that will push Bitcoin up into the sky. Markets are in cycles, they're in patterns. Now, one thing that you can realize probably now is you've seen these Wall Street patterns, okay? They appear over and over and over again. It's nothing different than manipulation. I don't want to use that word, but we need to understand that the big banks are very, very greedy. And lo and behold, I don't really want to say it here, but they are. They run markets up, they do it deliberately, and they drop markets. That is how they make their money, and that is how they skim off the blue-collar worker, you and me. They pull us in. Once the market is on the high, bang, they sell. And that's why last year, I think it was about 7 or 8 December, where we recommended and said, listen, sell at 19,500, because that is where the bankers are going to sell. And we played that game really well and sold. The people that didn't know, the people that weren't informed, didn't buy. Exactly now, Randy, like the people now. Many people are not informed now because the media keeps telling people, don't buy. Don't buy, sell. It's going to go to zero. Now, when everybody sells, the big banks come in, like they did in the dot-com bubble, and they buy every single cryptocurrency that are being sold. Somebody buys it, and specifically Bitcoin. There's a bunch of coins actually that they keep on buying. I mean, think about this. You know, Goldman Sachs went and bought the exchange Polynex. Is Bitcoin going to go to zero when Goldman Sachs buy that? No, they won't. Jamie Dimon last year, or I think at the beginning of the year, he called Bitcoin a fraud. He just came out and said, I do apologize, I shouldn't have called Bitcoin a fraud, because they are investing so much money in cryptocurrencies, guys. This thing is going to blow up in front of our eyes.
Marius, I think one of the interesting things about what you just said is, you know, I think sometimes people go, well, is it time to sell? Is it time to buy? Or, you know, this market exchange thing. People don't recognize that when you sell, someone else buys. So that's the only way it works. It is a handoff. So when you sell in the low, someone is buying in the low. And so who is it that's buying in the low? Who is it that's taking advantage of the low price? We're not selling off to the suckers, right? The smart people are buying from the suckers. So, not to put it too, brutally there, but the fact is, guys, it is a market exchange where buyers and sellers agree upon a price. When you sell at your low, when you're selling off your opportunity, someone else is buying your opportunity. And so, and when we understand that these patterns are in place, then, this is not just let me get out of it. This is, you're selling out your position to be at a low point in the pattern. And someone else is buying in. They are capitalizing on that opportunity by buying from you. You're giving away your low, and they are buying into your low, and now they have the opportunity that you just sold out of.
That's exactly it, Randy. Bitcoin is not a car yard. You don't simply sell your Bitcoin and then somebody keeps it on a yard and they wait for a buyer. It doesn't happen like that. When you sell it, it's like an instant sale. If Randy sells now, instantly I buy his Bitcoin and I have it. It doesn't go on a shelf. And remember this, there's only 21 million Bitcoins. You want to get your hands on as much Bitcoin as what you can, and never ever sell that Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. And by the end of this call, I'm just going to mention a certain coin that I just want you to focus on, which most likely is going to be bigger than Bitcoin in the next 5 years, according to our data. It's going to make Bitcoin look small. If we say Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million, this coin is most probably going to take it out. Now, the altcoins, if the market is going to go upwards here with about 47%. Now, look at that chart, guys. What we are saying is that we could have a little bit down market up till that pink line there. So the market can come down slightly, a little bit more. It can even push through that pink line and even go a little bit lower, around about there with a vertical price breakout somewhere here today, tomorrow, over the weekend. Now, one thing that I did not put into this chart, there's a certain Wyckoff pattern that keeps repeating itself over and over and over. And remember, I'm only giving you this information. Now go and search Wyckoff pattern, and you are going to find that it actually follows this exact pattern here, comes down here, and this here on the bottom is now called spring. In some cases, what can happen is that pattern can actually drop and go down to this level here. And remember what we said? We said that the low could be 2963. So just be very careful. Don't buy yet into this level. Wait till we get that first buyback zone of 3489. So you can see, Randy, that we don't recommend that people buy now, simply because it could be, there is a possibility, and it's in my report here, that the markets could prematurely break down slightly further and then redo this little pattern here, but just here, and then come back up there. But ultimately, this pattern, where it's going to break out upwards, is going to play out. Now, one thing that I want you guys to be aware of is that this level here, if we now break out here in this week and we go upwards and it goes sideways and we hit that level of 5,000, this level here could be about 10% more than that level there. Now remember what I say, approximately 5,000. If we see the market comes back there at 4.8, then it's going to go, then that level there will be 10% more than that level there, just there. But from there, and I didn't put it in the chart, and this is only for you guys that are on the webinars, we believe if we do not drop here on the bottom here further, that we are going to come down here in January. And Randy, we can have a lower low than that level there. So in effect, the market is going to start dropping just here into January. Have another lower low So if you think that we reached the low, we haven't. I believe that there's another low coming here in January. Now, again, I'm just going to clarify this. If we don't have this drop here to about that level there, we are then going to go upwards, and then we're going to come and retest that low here again in January. And that is why I recommend that I said that when we hit that level there, or that level there, the first week in January, that's where I'm going to sell. And remember, guys, we've got wallets that has got Bitcoin in. I'm not talking about all those investment wallets. I'm only talking about a small amount of money, a percentage that I invest in cryptocurrencies. But that's my personal investment money, which I will sell because I keep buying and selling. And whether I come there to the top, Randy, and only sell 25%, I'll still keep the rest. And even if it comes down, then I've got 25% to buy back on the bottom there. So you can see how I play it. The reason, guys, that I'm not going to sell maybe perhaps the entire 100% is because I'm not scared of the market. I know where this market is going to go, and I showed you guys now where it's going to go. I'm playing around with the market. I'm in charge of the market. The market doesn't dictate what I'm going to do. I dictate what I'm going to do, and I know the outcome. And that's why I say to the market, I don't care if you drop here. I may sell 25, 50, maybe 75%. I don't know. When we get to that point, I'll give you clear direction. But it's going to be similar to what I said here, Randy. When we get back to, let's say, that $5,000 level, I myself may sell 25 to 50% in increments, you know, as the market goes up. Between 25 and 50%, maybe 10%, but I'll give more clear direction when we head into that level there. Now, very important, I just want to talk, Randy, just quickly 2 or 3 minutes just about the entry plan, and then we can open for questions. If you look at this buyback, let's say, guys, if we break upwards here, which there's a very, very big probability that we are, your first buyback zone is 3489. I'm personally going to buy back there, exactly at that level there, and I'm going to buy 10%. When it breaks at second level of 3655, I'll buy back 10% again. Now, these 2 here are risky to buy because the market can always come up. Look at what had happened there. The market went up there and then dropped. So you can always have where the market comes up there, it's resistance, and then it drops back again. But once it breaks these 2 levels here and it heads past that level there, that zone there is a good buying zone because that means that we've broken this high. The market is then going to break out. And then above 3899, that's a good buy zone. 4214 is a safe zone, but also when you buy there, you're going to make a less profit. And then above 4449 is also a good buy zone. Notice that we have taken this buy zone of 4921. I've taken that out. Don't buy when we head to that level there. You simply just wait. So this is the next play for the week and a half. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I want to see if I can clarify here, Marius, you are giving us sort of a pattern to follow. It was very much about gambling. You know, it was very much I was very much in a hope stage. You know, I hope it goes up. I hope it goes down. I hope it goes up. I hope it goes down. I know that because of the way you're showing the graph right now. One of the things I think people have a hard time seeing is that there's opportunity in the low stages that are just as exciting as watching it go up, because we now have an opportunity to position ourselves. Wouldn't you say, Marius, that positioning yourself is just as, if not even more important than the illustrious it's going up now? You know, you have to get positioned in this thing. That's why we stay close to the reports. That's why we stay close to the market update calls, because right now is positioning phase. But if you don't put any value on the positioning, then you won't be properly positioned to realize those gains that we're going to see in this next run up.
Randy, you are definitely correct on that sense here. Now, let me quickly show you this where we are now. This is called the wake-off event and phase. For some reason, Randy, this specific pattern repeats itself over and over and over in Bitcoin. It's kind of like it's built into the patterns. If you look at where we are now, see here on the bottom, it says there spring. So we are there now. So this is what we expect, Randy, and exactly what you say, Randy. There's opportunities now going upwards as well. So we expect now this pattern to play out. See here, that one there. That one there is basically here.
It's so weird, man. It's so weird that most of us look at the stock market or the Bitcoin market and we just think, oh, it's up, it's down. Oh, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, it's down, it's down, it's up, it's up, it's down. Oh, I hope, and maybe so. You know, we cross our fingers. But when you show that there's patterns that take place here and that we just need to follow the outcome of the pattern, this is not about emotions anymore, is it? This is not, let's get lucky. I hope it, you know, hope we get lucky. This is follow the pattern and you can position yourself along the way. I mean, that's what it really looks like here, Marius.
Absolutely, Randy. And just to remember that this pattern can actually move on a little bit. And this is why I always say that time and date can expand or contract. Now, even if we say that that spike there can happen perhaps in the next 24 to 48 hours, that pattern there can always be pushed out to next week, Monday or Tuesday. But eventually what happens is this pattern of the wake-off phase is going to repeat itself over and over again. When we get here to that top there, see that top there? Okay. When we hit that top, Bitcoin is expected to drop. Now, this is where a lot of people that follow my work, Randy, they would come and copy our work. And this is why I really want to ask you guys, don't send any of our information out to anybody. We, just this morning, I canceled another trading analyst, a well-known guy. I had to cancel his account because they come and take our information, copy it, and then make as if it's their own work. Guys, you're going to make insane money. Now, remember, this is not financial advice. We are going to lose 1 or 2 calls where we make it wrong. But then we get out of the market really quickly. We may lose 10, 20%. But when you take this uptrend here, when that uptrend happens, like, let me just move this out of the way. When that uptrend happens here, we make 47%. That's only in Bitcoin, okay? I haven't even spoken about the altcoins. The altcoins, if Bitcoin goes up 47%, the altcoins are going to go up staggering, okay? And this, I gave you a hint here that you, not necessarily Litecoin. Litecoin will go up the same percentage as Bitcoin, but I think in this run up here, Litecoin could easily go up 60%. You look at other coins here, ZRX, Digibyte, it's in the report there, Ethereum Classic. But my 3 favorite coins, or 4, is Walton Coin, that one there, AGI, Wax, and Digibyte. And on another webinar, Randy, I showed people what we see in the algorithm for Wax, AGI, Walton Coin, and Digibyte. Combined, you look at a 6,000% gain. If you just put $100 in those coins, like now, and remember, it's not financial advice, but just put $100 in, hold it. You can have thousands of coins. You hold it and you forget about it. And again, it's not financial advice. You know, remember all our reporting. We don't recommend that you follow our advice. We have to put that disclaimer in. Please just read that on the bottom there. So I don't want people to come and sue us all over the world if you've lost your $100 and your $100 is now worth $85. Okay? But you're welcome to give me a certain percentage if that $100 turned into $30,000.
Marius, can I ask you a question?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, this is Lynn again. You had talked about the flash crash of Ethereum where it went down to $15 for 30 seconds.
Litecoin.
Was that Litecoin?
I think it was Litecoin.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Ethereum. Anyway, what I wanted to ask you is there a way to do a limit order on a specific coin? Because when I researched it, it sounds like very few wallets allow you to do that, and it's very risky because if you don't know what you're doing, you could actually lose money. So I'm just wondering, you know, if there's a way to take advantage of a flash crash by positioning ourselves that way.
Yeah, absolutely, Lynn. I do a lot of those orders on Binance, or I would do it on Bitfinex. So what I would do, I would take, for example, let's say $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, and I would go to the exchanges and say that Ethereum, I put an order in Ethereum for $20. I put another order in for $30, for $40, $50. And then I put that order in, and I tell the computer, basically the software of Bitfinex or the software of Binance, the app that we use, and I say to Binance, if Ethereum goes to $50, buy 1 Ethereum, or 2 or 3, depending on how you put the order in. I do that with multiple coins. I do it with Ethereum Classic, I do it with Litecoin, and that's why I always say, guys, 10% of your money, you should always keep 10% in cash. Exactly how we say here too, when you buy back, you only buy back with 10% there. You don't spend 100% of your money, because what happens if the market turns back? Or what happens if there's other opportunities that are coming across your path? So yes, Lynn, you can go and put those buy orders in, like for example, Litecoin. I've got Litecoin at $5. I'm going to buy $1,000 worth of Litecoin if it flash crashes to that price. And right through the history of Bitcoin, I think there's about 173 times that Bitcoin flash crashed. One event actually happened somewhere in this year, and remember, different exchanges, different. You won't necessarily have the same flash crash on Binance and the same one on Bitfinex at the same time. It really depends on exchanges. So your 10% money, you don't need to let that money just lie in cash. Use it and place it orders. Put orders everywhere. You know, for not every single coin, but stuff like, we've got a model portfolio here. This model portfolio, there's a lot of research done on this model portfolio. It just looks like it's just whacked up, but it's not. You know, if you look at these coins here, this is your top primary coins. Of course, if there's some of these coins that you don't like OMG or anything, just take them out and replace them. But Bitcoin, Litecoin, you can hold between 12 and 25% of Litecoin. We've got some other coins there. Of course, you can take it out. Look at Qtum, for example. Look what happened with Qtum. Let me just see if I've got that here. Look what happened with Qtum while Bitcoin was dropping down. Okay, if you held Qtum, for example, and you know, when we make these levels, when I make those profits, I sell. It went up 35% since the 7th of December. All these cryptos here, like Internet of Things, goodness, guys, when this market starts moving, IOTA, Internet of Things, is just going to go straight vertical upwards. DigiByte, a very great long-term, token. I was just on the phone with Amar. He's the head of DigiByte. I mean, what is going to happen with DigiByte is unbelievable. And good news also, why don't I become part of the team and help you guys? And they were so appreciative of that. So now you guys have an insider, myself, being in the team of DigiByte, a straight connection to Amar. And I'm going to bring you guys good information about DigiByte. And that thing is something that we need to keep an eye on. The first time I recommended it, you can go back to my website, we recommended that, and we made about a 78% gain on that. And that thing is going to explode higher. Tron, very good. Ripple, Stratus, Veritasium is something that you really need to look at. Very good gains there. And then here's the 3 coins, WAX, AGI, WTC. We are not saying that only keep these coins here. ADX, you probably saw that. Let me see if I've got ADX. I don't think I've got it here, but that was another stunner. No, it wasn't ADX, it was something else. But anyway, Randy. Yeah, guys, if there's any other questions.
We have a couple of questions in the chat room, if I can direct you to those, okay?
So I'll leave it up to you, Randy, and just ask those questions and we'll go ahead. Over to you.
Okay, sir. First of all, we had Ida said, when you decide to exit, what do you do? Where do you exit into? USDT or others? Of course, that could mean USDT or cash. Keith Hampton helped answer that question. Here's one from Norbert Casoto. Norbert says, in the model portfolio example, if you add the percentage of the primary coins, 70%, plus the percentage of the secondary coins, 30%, these two altogether equal 100%. Then there is another 5% mentioned saying 5% of the portfolio from secondary coins can go there. Where do you get this extra 5% from?
Yeah, the tertiary coins are something that we just say that's an additional option. If you use that option, then obviously you're probably going to skim that 5% either off this 70% here or that 30% there. So that makes 70 and 70 is 100%. So in that case, you will just make this 65% or that 25%. And that's where you get that 5% from. I'll probably, thank you for that comment anyway, I'll just make it clear here next time.
Yeah, okay. Ray says, if Marius says he sells at the $5,000 range and would sell approximately 75% of his account, wouldn't it depend on what price he bought at? So if I say he bought at 6,500, would he sell at the 5,000 area anyway?
It does make a difference, but I think these are probably new people that came on board. You have to remember that we have come all the way from the top. Okay, I've been in Bitcoin now for a long time, you know, so let's say if you just look at this year, we sold there at the top, we bought back here on the bottom, and if you go back to our reports, we literally almost, Randy, called every single high and every single low. When we came here to the end point here, you know, we called that low, but we didn't realize the market is going to drop that far. So specifically my buy-in price of Bitcoin is extremely low. For example,
right,
we bought here on the bottom, we sold in the high there. So I sit with massive profits. Then we bought back here on the bottom and we sold in the high. Now, when I started selling here at 5,000, which is in our reports, the recommendation here that where it says here, exit plan is very simple. We sell year. And so I was already in profit when I did that. But we need to understand there's a whole bunch of people that are not in profit. My recommendation is, if we are going to head upwards into the levels of this one here, okay, whether you sold here...
And your screen is trailing. Your screen is trailing about 3 or 4 seconds there.
Okay, awesome. So you should see the two green arrows now?
We see those now, yeah.
So my recommendation is, let's say, even if you bought, let's say, here, and that figure is 6,500, I would still, when we get here to the $5,000 mark, look out for my reports. I will address that in a very good paragraph. And I'll make it clear and I'll say, whether you bought at 6.5, we recommend that if you did, that you sell a certain percentage at that level. Because remember this, if the market then drops all the way another, let's say 60%, and you sell maybe 25%. So let's say if you work with $1,000 and you sold 25%, you've got $250 here on the bottom where you then can buy back again. And you increase the amount of Bitcoin you have or any other crypto that you have.
Yeah, and I think it's important too to just kind of remind everybody that you know, Marius does not give advice in a day trading kind of format. These are ongoing reports that kind of link together. And for the new person that, say you're in and you know maybe you haven't seen a new report, I would strongly suggest going back 2-3 reports and just kind of see the continuity of the reports. So each report, you can't like really look at it as an isolated incident. They actually sort of daisy chain off of each other. And so that it makes sense of kind of where you're buying or where you're selling, or or how the pattern is playing out. So just kind of keep in mind that all of this is sort of daisy chaining along, and Marius is not giving us a day trading type of reporting here. I think that's important to understand there too.
But look, guys, my last comment here is just look at Apple again. Imagine that being 20,000 Bitcoin, where my mouse is now, okay? And imagine that being the dot-com bubble. Now, don't fear, don't get scared. Give yourself 3 to 6 months, because we may go flat, but we are going to make some profits, but we are going to turn into this hyper wave. And this is the one that I call the super cycle. We are going to have this first super cycle. I've gone through that a while ago, and that is coming to your doorstep. I tell you guys, it's no coincidence that you guys are on this call. And I promise you this, the wealth of the wicked, of these bankers, are going to be transferred into the hands of the righteous people. There's nothing in the world that is a coincidence. We are here, and I tell you what, the money is going to come to you. Just be patient.